welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of May 1st to May 7th. We are moving into May now. We are fully in eclipse season. This is a big week in the astrology, okay, for a number of reasons. So May 1st, Monday, we are starting out on the second quarter moon phase. This is a time where the moon is gaining in light, right? Because we're about to have a full moon eclipse in Scorpio on Friday. So Monday, though, we have Pluto retrograde. So Pluto is very slow. He's been at the 0-degree mark for a number of months already, but he is now officially retrograde in Aquarius. So still at that 0-degree mark of Aquarius, he'll move back into Capricorn, dip in again further out, but he's going to stay at the 0-degree mark. But what happens when a planet is stationary retrograde, or means retrograde, it's going slower than the Earth. So Pluto is now slowed down and it's intensified. Pluto is about death, rebirth, and transformation. It is intensity, right? So whatever he's doing, he's adding intensity to it. Now, Aquarius is about the people, right? Are we doing these things for the people? Humanity, elevating consciousness, being a good steward of our resources for everybody. So this is going to be a time where we might feel intensification of, like the examples that we're seeing in France right now, where they're really protesting increasing the age of retirement by 2 years. They're increasing the age of retirement and France is not having it. The people are saying we're not going to work longer to have retirement. Like life isn't going to be like that. So the people are speaking. Aquarius is the people. So power struggles, power to the people. We might even see more intensification of values and righteousness when it's turned up too loud. Righteousness is Aquarius turned up too loud, but we might see more movements of people kind of advocating for the best for all of society. Right. So even now, China is wanting to make a move to take Taiwan back. Well, the people are speaking of Taiwan saying, we don't want that. We want to stay an independent, democracy. We don't want to be taken back into dictatorship. So the people are speaking up. The people are reaching out to other countries saying, come in and help us, right? And then the other countries are coming in to help. That's Aquarius. We're all going to come together and support one another so the tyrant doesn't win, right? Screw the tyrant. That's Aquarius. So we're starting to see all of that kind of coming in. On this day as well, we are noticing, we also are having the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde in Taurus. So the Sun is now in Taurus. We are in beautiful Taurus season, and Mercury is retrograde in Taurus, and now they're coming together at the same degree. So this is going to be an aspect where we are being asked to reassess, revise, and realign with our values and our beliefs, right? Taurus is about our values. What are we valuing in life? And our beliefs that are aligning with our values. What are we aligning? So beliefs, identity, safety in our foundations, right? We're trying to really shore up our foundations. Are we really acting in alignment with our beliefs? And you've heard me say this before, because Mercury is retrograde in Taurus. So now when it comes together, the sun represents our vitality, our individuality. Who do we feel we are? To have Mercury come together with that in retrograde is like, are we sure? Are you sure this is who you are? Are you sure this is what you want for yourself right now? Rethinking your values and how we use our resources. Are you being a good steward of your resources, right? And resources being money, our time, our awareness, our energy. What are you consuming? And is that consumption good for you? Because that Scorpio full moon eclipse is going to be about detoxification. Scorpio's detox. So this consumption piece is happening right before, right? Are you using the things in the right way? Are you eating the right things? Because if you're not, your body's going to tell you this week, no bueno, right? No bueno. So great time to go over finances, clear up your paperwork, you know who you are, and determine a more aligned budget for yourself. So Taurus rules money. Now, as Mercury is retrograde here, especially for the beginning part until the 14th of May, we're going to see some turbulence in the financial markets as well. Now, I'm not a certified financial planner, so I can't give you financial advice. But what I'm saying is be risk averse at this time. We're going to see some turbulence in financial markets. So just being aware of that, that is what most astrologers are saying at this point in time. And it is a prediction. It is not a certainty. So let's see how that plays out. But I personally won't be making any risky moves in finances at this time. And I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in the things that I do and my spending, and I'm not taking any risky, investments on at this time. So Wednesday is our next day that, I mean, there's nothing, any big aspects happening on this day, but it did catch my eye because the moon is going to be in Libra and square to Mars in Cancer. So this can be a very kind of sensitive day. Frustration can be building as we're building to the next day and Friday. We're going to feel more and more sensitive as the week goes on. Thursday, May 4th, we have Venus square to Neptune. Now, there's positives and there's challenges with this. So a really great positive with Venus square to Neptune. So Venus is what we love and value, our relationships, beauty and aesthetics. And then Neptune is our spirituality, connection to the divine, compassion, right? How do we feel about ourselves, like intuition wise? So this can really bring up, Venus is in Gemini at this point in time, moving through the last degrees of Gemini, and Neptune is sitting at the 26 degrees of Pisces. So that Pisces Gemini energy, it can be very creative. It can really be one that brings up, stirs up really wonderful intuition, connections with others. This is a great to attend a meditation, to do something in a workshop where you're getting deeper to your soul side of things, doing something that's creatively inclined, painting, sculpting, anything that kind of requires your even writing, because Gemini is about writing and communication. So this is a really great time to write for yourself. Okay. If you're writing for others now, a square to Neptune can be deception, can be confusion, that we don't get all the right information yet. So the downside to this, or the challenge possibly with this date, is you don't want to be having any deep conversations and relationships about what you know and you know. Right? This can be gossip as well. So be careful with what you're hearing, where you're hearing it from, and really checking your sources, really going to the depths of what is true and what is not true. Right? And looking up different sources, maybe checking out things, and really making sure that what you're hearing is true. So being very steer clear of gossip, especially on this day. Confusion in relationships can take hold on this day too. So not a great day to do any confrontation. Okay. It might be hard to hold your tongue because of everything that's happening right now, right? There's this explosiveness of Pluto, going, come on, injustice, right? And you're like, oh, this person did this thing to me. And they're like, what? I didn't say that. Or, oh my God, I didn't mean to hurt you. I did not say it in that way, or I did not mean to say it in that way. I'm so sorry. Right. So really just being aware there might be two sides. My husband always likes to say there's three sides to every story. There's your side, my side, and the truth, right? So, it's always a perception. So on Thursday, and I'm going to say the majority of this week, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that your perception of what is true and what's real might be a little bit off kilter. So not a great time for certainly attack somebody or challenge somebody or bring somebody to bear. Like just give it a little bit that all the information can come to the fore, right? Especially if you can, after Mercury retrograde, that might be a good time because then all the information will come to light, right? Mercury's information. And then, also on Thursday, May 4th, we have a few aspects to the moon that are kind of making me want to say, be careful not to take on so many things from other people. So Venus square Neptune can also be people pleasing. Like you just want to do a lot of things to help everyone and be the martyr, be the good person. I'm the one that's, I'm so good. Or we also might have that wound of the past that I only have value when I do things for others. Right? Saying no, having those boundaries is hard because you don't want anyone to, disappoint anyone. But if you take on too many things, you'll definitely be disappointing too many people, disappointing yourself and others, right? That's not your standard. So just be careful with how much you take on in that people pleasing energy that can be presenting on Thursday, especially, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Friday is a big day. Friday, May 5th, we have a full moon eclipse in Scorpio at 11:34 a.m. Mountain Standard Time at 14 degrees of Scorpio and 58 minutes. So this full moon is all about detoxification. Okay, what are you now? Thing about detox is you're taking toxins out, things that are toxic in your life. You are removing them. So Scorpio is about detoxification. It's about debt taxes. It is about other people's money, being a good steward of other people's resources. It is also about bringing light to the darkness, right? Healing mental wellness is also part of that Scorpionic part of us, that we all have Scorpio in our charts, right? So noticing where Scorpio is in your chart, if you know your chart. If you don't, that's okay. Just know there's a part in your life right now, and you'll be aware of it, that really needs a clean out, right? That really needs to get on what needs to be cleaned out. And ironically, this is hitting my 12th house of what do I need to clean up behind the scenes to really allow in more light, allow in more of the good things, energy wise. Now, this is ending an 18-month cycle. So this is going to be the last eclipse in Scorpio. And now the nodes are going to move into Aries, Libra. So this is kind of wrapping up this Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy is like that Me Too movement kind of came up. There's a lot of sexuality, passion, the things that are taboo in society that we don't talk about is Scorpio. So this is kind of a full moon. Full moons illuminate, culminate, bring things to everyone's attention, bring things to completion. That's a full moon. And full moon has the sun in Taurus opposite the moon in Scorpio. So we have this opposition, right? And opposition needs balance. So we're trying to find a balance between our divine feminine, which is the moon, and our divine masculine, which is the sun. Now, to add more, because it's an eclipse, right? An eclipse is an evolutionary jump forward for humanity. So that's why eclipses are so powerful. They can last 6 months into the future, and they start 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. We're already in eclipse season, and they come in pairs, right? So this is the second pair, because we just had the Aries new moon eclipse 2 weeks ago. So this is now the second of that pair, the full moon in Scorpio. And this full moon is a south node eclipse, meaning the south node of the moon is sitting with the moon, right? So that happens. Eclipses is when the nodes of the moon sit with the moon. So the last one we had, the new moon, was a north node eclipse. North node is our karmic destiny. Where are we heading to? As a collective, what is our path forward? What are we looking at? Where are we trying to go, right? The south node, which is this eclipse, is our karmic past. What did we learn from the past? What needs to stay in the past now? Everything that's happening with Roe versus Wade in the US, right? Women's rights, reproduction, Scorpio, right? Sex, Scorpio, right? What have we learned from the past? Have we learned nothing, right? Are they going back to the forefathers and going, okay, well, this is how it was meant to be back then, and we haven't learned anything in all of these years? Or have we learned that women have rights over their bodies, and women get to choose how and when they want to have a child, how and when they want to look after their reproduction, right? That is a choice for every woman. Is that a choice? Is that a choice? Or are we going back to the past where no one had a choice and we were just ruled by men? Well, it was bullshit, So you probably know my stance on that. So understanding the past and what have we learned from the past, right? This is this eclipse. So it's bringing to culmination what is ready to be detoxed, released. This is now relegated to the past. Thank you. Thank you. Next, right? Thank you. Next. So the other thing that's adding some fun to this is that we also have a few planets sitting with the sun. So not only is the North Node sitting with the sun, Mercury retrograde is sitting with the sun, and Uranus is sitting with the sun. So Uranus is explosive. It is change. It's the god of chaos. He's going to make things move, right? We're not sitting in this poop anymore, right? We're moving things out. So this can be a full moon is already got our emotions high. We've got our divine masculine and divine feminine at odds with each other. So we're not really sure what's happening, right? There's a lot of statistics, out there that, emergency room visits go up on a full moon. Teachers report their children going wild on a full moon. More police calls on a full moon, right? This is going to be amped up, especially with this Mercury, this Uranus in here, raking up stuff. He's not having it. He's not having us sitting in the old ways anymore. So this is going to be shocks, could be earthquakes, Uranus is in Taurus. That's like the mother nature, our resources. So we could see some major storms and things at this time as well. But earthquake is very possible. People bringing in shocking and revolutionary movements. So rebelliousness, Uranus is rebellion, right? Uranus rules Aquarius. We're not standing with the status quo. We are elevating consciousness. And how do we do that? We got to break up the past, right? So we might see some of that happening this week as well. Ironically, it's also Cinco de Mayo, right? So it's like a big, national holiday and a big celebration for Mexicans. So there's going to be, this kind of stuff coming up. Also, with all this Taurus energy, Mercury in Taurus as well, there can be communication breakdown during this time as well. And I know there's been a lot of solar flares too. So there's been some blackouts, some satellite issues, some internet's going wonky. So I would say with that Uranus energy, Uranus rules the internet. Use the web, the electricity that moves through the air, like Wi-Fi. That's Uranus, and Mercury rules communication. So both of them involved in this full moon are going to see some communication breakdowns. And as well, because of that Venus square to Neptune, we might not be getting the whole story. So being very cautious with what you trust to be true. And in Taurus is about food and money. So we're going to start to see money, food prices going up as well. And it's not just, the astrology is saying that, but also there was, a lot of those floods in California, and here where I live in the western side of Canada, we get a lot of our produce from the Salinas Valley, which is in California. So a lot of those like tomatoes, strawberries, a lot of their crops, shishito peppers, which I love shishitos, those are all going away for a time until they can replenish those crops. So if you're looking for those things, they're going to be very expensive. And we're going to see that because of the weather systems and stuff that are happening. Food is going to increase in price and supply is going to dwindle. So, are we being good stewards of our resources? Can we, are we taking more than we need, or can we share those resources? That's going to be another theme that's going to emerge from this eclipse as we move into Aries and Libra, right? Sharing versus this is mine and all mine, right? It's how much do we actually need? Can we be there for each other? All right. And then we also have a Jupiter square to Pluto. So this is expansion, issues around debt, taxes, and power. So really paying attention to your finances. If you haven't paid your taxes yet, if you haven't filed yet, now's the time. Get your paperwork in order. And then Pluto is also squared the nodes. So we call that sort of a T square. And Pluto square the nodes is always evolutionary, revolutionary movements. So we could see, China ramping up, trying to move into Taiwan. We could maybe see Russia kind of doubling down and trying to get into Ukraine, like really seeing these movements of like revolution, take hold. And maybe there might be people kind of rising up and saying, we're not doing that. We're not having that anymore. So again, I put down, pay your taxes, pay your debts, put your financial house in order, be responsible. Fundamental political and social restructuring is also possible. And then we also have this really beautiful Neptune sextile to Pluto. So, and then Mars also trying to Neptune. So material and spiritual growth, like material, the world and spirituality coming together. So we're trying to help each other, right? We might be sending donations, spiritual concepts to help people heal and transform. So, instead of being stuck in the 3D world, remember that you have this intuition, you have this spiritual path, you have a purpose in this lifetime, and don't get caught up in all of this, right? When you get your material world in order, Taurus, then you can really dip into your spiritual and your healing and doing things that are really karmically transformative, which is Scorpio. So this Scorpio full moon, detox things out of your life, relationships, material stuff, things that are no longer serving you, right? And really being clear in your communication. On Saturday, May 6th, we have Venus going through the final degrees of Gemini, 29-degree Gemini. This is going to cause, whenever we have a 29-degree aspect or a 29-degree sign, what's going to happen is it'll be intense. Like, did we learn the lesson? So beware of gossip, beware of propaganda, beware of things that don't really feel right to you. And please don't have any deep conversations about clearing the air and trying to get to the depths of things. Like it might not go well, right? There's just some things here that might not go well. It's already an amped up situation. So I'll also say it's not a time to manifest. It's a time now to try to flow with this energy. It's a wild energy. The eclipse brings with it evolutionary energy. If you try to channel that evolutionary energy into something, it's going to burn you, right? Also, this full moon, not a good time to charge your crystals, charge moon water, any of that stuff. Eclipse energy is wild and it's hard to control. So it might actually break crystals as well, split your crystals. Like that's how powerful this energy is. So I'm just saying it's not a good idea to try to manifest. Instead, flow. You know what needs to be detoxed in your life, do that. You're not trying to manifest more money or a relationship. That's probably not what this is about. You're trying to clean out all the gunk, right? That's Scorpio. And then Sunday, May 7th, we have two aspects in play. Venus moves into Cancer. So we have a full week. As Venus moves into Cancer, this is now a time where it's moving from Gemini, which is an air sign that's mutable, going wherever we want information, we want to connect, curiosity, communication. Now we're going into cocoon, right? We want to be with people that feel safe. We want to be at home. We want to have stability, safety, caring, increased sensitivity. This is increased intuition as well, increased emotions, right? It's going to amp up emotions, right? Emotional intelligence is Cancer. So are you being intelligent with your emotions? Are you using your emotions as information and understanding what your body is telling you? Or are you being ruled by your emotions and then, blah, emotionally vomiting on everybody, right? Like that we don't want that because there'll be atonement for that. We want to own our emotions, own our triggers. So cautious, devoted in love, very caring, kind, affectionate energy. Cancerians, once you're in their heart, you're in their heart for like life. It's very hard to get out of there unless you totally hurt their feelings, right? So I always sort of say like two of my closest friends are Cancerians, and I just feel like so lucky to be like, that's like a jackpot. When Cancerian kind of showers you with love, it's like you've made it. No, I don't know if that's the case, but it's almost like it's very special, right? So this Cancerian energy is going to come into the collective now, making us really empathic, very sensitive, wanting to take care of people, wanting to be intuitive and kind and loving, but boundaries, right? We need boundaries. Cancer is mutable water, cardinal water that is like wanting to shift and change the world, right? Cancerians have a mission, and it's to love the crap out of you. No, I'm just kidding. But it's really to create a home on earth, right? So there is boundaries are needed, at this time, especially with Venus in Cancer. And we also have Mars still in Cancer too. So there's a lot of this kind of we can get hurt very easily because we might perceive someone has not considered our needs. That's pretty much it. And then we also have Venus in conjunct to Pluto. So an inconjunct, also called a quincunx, is a 150-degree angle. And it just means that there's a need for adjustment. So Venus in Cancer, so what we love and value, which is safety and connection, but for security, for home, for creating family-like connections, needs an adjustment with evolution. with transformation, right? So it's asking us actually to have boundaries. So there's going to be a need for adjustment when the relationships that you're in as we're coming into next week. So intense emotional experiences, compromise in relationships, money and values might be needed. So that's the adjustment, right? Like it's like, okay, we can be in relationship with each other, but we need to have a compromise. And the compromise has to be a win-win. It can't be that I compromise and you win. Like we're not doing that anymore, right? Try not to be controlling. This energy might be because Pluto can be possessive. It can be like intense, right? So when Pluto and Venus are considering each other as an adjustment, they're considering each other's needs. What can we do as a collective? So if I bring this to the mundane, which is like the world, What can we do to take care of each other that then helps us to elevate this world and create more stability, more safety for the people who are in higher risk situations, right? That's what this energy is. On a micro level, on our own level, it can feel like your relationships might be crumbling, or people aren't seeing your needs, or you feel you're not considered, right? And you might be triggering. So Sunday, it's a sensitive day. Best to stay home, wrap yourself in a blanket and watch Golden Girls, right? Just know that you're very sensitive this week. And if you're feeling like you're not being acknowledged, not being seen, not being heard, then there's some healing here to be done, not out there, right? Heal here first, right? So it's a sensitive week. I am wrapping you in light. Thank you so much for being here. This is a powerful week, and we can use this energy wisely to create amazing things. This is a great week for intuition, for spirituality, for having a practice in the morning, having a meditation, pull a card, journal, and set an intention for yourself, especially this week. Okay, because you're wanting to use all your tools in the toolbox this week. All right. So wishing you a wonderful, grounded week of detoxification, and I will see you next week.